Hi everyone, good morning. Morning to Margaret, Jane, Karen, Viv, Carol, Di, Ethel, Lynn, June, Heather. Lovely to see you all. Just thought I'd go a little bit different for you. They are lovely. They're a little bit larger than they usually, or than the last ones have been. 130 centimetres. No, they're not. 130 millimetres by 85. So that's about 6 inches by about 3, I think it is, 3.5, something like that. So quite a nice large size. There are 4 new ones. This one is called, guess what, Tree with a Swing. You may have seen these with other companies or something very similar, and basically they are a licensed product. So the company that makes them, whether they make them big or small, they pay for a license to actually make these and show them like that. And the difference would be that instead of they doing it in one size, they've got it in another. So this one is lovely. This one is called the Tree with a Swing. Then we've got this great big beautiful oak tree, so something again very nice, very large, lends itself to all sorts of things. I can't wait to have a go at that one as well. Love that. Then we've got a really fun one. Can't remember what this one was called now. Summer holidays or summer vacation or something like that. And so this is like an old car which is absolutely full of all the things for the beach, which is a quite nice fun one as well. And I think all of these are really good for mail cards. And then this one, which I'm going to work with today, which is, I can't remember what it's called, but a sea scene sort of thing. It reminds me of a Tuscany sort of area again, which is lovely. So that's the one I'm going to be using today. So there, as I said, there are 4 sets altogether. With it, I'm going to be using the postage frame dies from Sue Wilson, which we have had out a little while, and many of you have already got, and I thought they lent themselves to it as well. So we're going to be using that set. That's the picture there to the side. We're going to be using that, and we're also going to be using these stencils. These are Sky Elements stencils from Creative Expressions, and they obviously are the clouds and the sun and stars and moon and whatever you like. So it comes with all the bits. So you've got your main bit here, so you've got that bit, but you've also got all of the elements that are cut out from those shapes, but you can use them in different ways. So I'm going to be using some of them as well, and they are available. All of what we're using today are available over on the website. So let's start off with this one. So I'm going to get my piece of white card, and I'm going to get a piece that is an A5 size, because I will colour it and then I will cut it down. So I'm not going to use it all, I'm just going to colour it. Now, because this one has got a definite horizon line on there, I'm actually going to draw in a line, just a pencil line, on my card, so that I have got some idea of where I want my image to go. So I'm just going to draw a line that is just about basically halfway, so that I know where I want to put my colours, because I'm going to do it a little bit. You could do it beforehand, and you can do this with washes, with distress inks, with watercolour based inks, all sorts. I'm going to use the Craft Artist pigment inks, which is the rainbow set, which again we have had those a little while ago, so just a different selection. So to start off with, I'm going to use a sponge dauber to apply the inks, and I'm going to go along my skyline here with the lighter colours first. So I'm going to start off with my bright orangey sort of colour there, and it's just going to go up in lines from there. So I'm just going to pop this colour on first. My card that I'm using is Super Smooth card from Lime Tree Crafts, and I'm just wanting to use that because I want to just put it on so that it sits on the surface and I can blend it a bit better. So that's the reason why we're using it. So I'm going to make sure that I'm covering a good amount of that card. So not completely edge to edge, but a good amount. And you can possibly see that I can still see that line, so I can just get the rough idea of it. So I'm then going to take my one of my stencils, which I'll get the look off of it. That's the smallest circle, and I'm going to pop that over here, and I'm just going to go over with my same colour that I was using and just put it on a little bit more like that. I'm going to hold it there, and then I'm going to go on with my second colour, so my sort of more orangey colour, and I'm going to start up here as well, just putting in, blending that in a little bit more. Now, depending on how much you want this sun to show, you can use it, leave it on there or whatever, but that's going to be enough for me. I don't want it on any more than that. So I'm going to go along here, and I'm going to add and blend in some of the more orangey colour, just bringing that up. I love these stamps because I think they're ideal for so many occasions. Retirement, mail cards, as we say, always troublesome, those mails. By the way, if anyone looked on the website, you can see that I'm not on the website, on the Facebook page. You might notice that I put something I saw about how that the family might suggest that they get cereal if you take long enough and you in your craft room instead of you coming out to cook dinner. And so many of you said that your staff members cooked you dinner. I failed miserably. What did I do? It's the training. The training should have been in place, and it clearly wasn't. Anyway, I digress. So I'm just blending all these colours together. So I've now gone on to the reddy colour, and of course you could use any colours you like, but again, the beauty of it being in one of these colour palettes like that is you have got the colours to go. Okay. So have we got any late people joining us? If so, we are on the Nellie Snellen's new stamps today. And I was talking and I nearly forgot to join in as well. So that wasn't much good, was that? So I've gone up with that colour, and now I'm going to go in with just a little bit of purple, just blending that in. Just wanted it a bit darker at the top. And because I'm layering lots of ink, it is now a little wet, so I have to be careful as I'm popping this on. So I'm just, again, I'm not going right up to the top. I'm just bringing that in as we go. Okay, so that's looking quite good. Now I'm going to change tactics, and I'm going to use the blue colours. So I'm going to turn that around, and I'm going to go from the bottom here. So on that line that I drew on there, the pencil line that I drew, I'm now going to pick up this sort of turquoisey colour, and obviously I'm going to mix it in with this yellow, which is going to make it a little bit green where it's actually touching, but that's okay. I'm not going to blend this one into there because I don't want really very much of the greeny sort of colours. So I'm just going to pop this in here. So just blending them in a little bit. And then layering a bit more down here. And then going in with my darker blue colour as well, just to give myself some more different sort of colours on there. Now, it doesn't matter if it's streaky. I'm purposely leaving it streaky in places. It depends on your card whether it would end up being very streaky, but it's fine, and it depends on what inks that you're using. But these are pigment inks, so they blend nicely and give you quite a nice sort of a look. I think I'm going to put a little bit, I'm going to change for that. Just put a little bit of greeny sort of colour in it. See what that looks like. Just a little bit of a greeny blue. So just layering on the colours, just giving it a bit of a different colour. So it looks quite stark at the moment, but because we're going to put our beautiful silhouette type picture on there, you're not going to notice that quite so much. So I'm going to put my lid back on there, and I'm actually going to get my heat gun out because it is a little bit wet. So I'm just going to zap that. Ooh. So I've just dried off, not completely, but more or less dried that off. So then I'm going to bring my stencil in, which has got the clouds in. So don't forget, we've got clouds like that, or we've also got clouds like that. So we can do a bit of a mixture of both. So I will, and we've also got single clouds here, as you can see, that one there. So oops. You can, obviously that goes like that, but you can do either way. So I'm going to use my darker colour that I used on here, which I'm going to use that red. And I'm just going to place my stencil over, and I'm just going to pounce my lens in a little bit there, just picking up those, making it look as if there are sort of clouds on the horizon there. Just bringing that over to there. Might not look as if you are doing very much, but when you then take that off, you can see that there are definite, hopefully you can, definite sort of clouds there. And then I shall move that over a little bit. And then just again with the darkest colour, just bring in some idea of clouds being there as well. Okay, so it just makes it look as if it's a little bit more realistic with just a little bit of clouds. So again, if I pick that up, you can see there's just like a hint there. Okay, so let's put that on, and again I'm just going to give it a little dry off because I want to stamp on it in a second. Once it dries, I think you can see that is there just a little bit more. So now I'm going to get my stamping platform, and I'm going to pop that way round because it will be easier for me to work with. Oops, put a couple of magnets there and take my stamp off. I'm going to protect it with a piece of clear acetate so that I don't get my image in the wrong place or bits of it that might still be on there. And I'm going to position it so that the line of my stamp, which was here, let's turn it round so it's that way round. The line of my stamp, which is here, is going to be on that line more or less where I put the pencil mark. So we're going to put it somewhere about like, bring it over a bit, like that. Okay, looks okay to me. So I'm going to then bring that down and pick that up. I can now get rid of my clear acetate. And I'm going to use VersaFine Clair just to pick this all up. The detail on the Nellie Snellen stamps is always excellent. Very, very detailed. Lots of sort of pen and ink type drawing, shading, which is ideal. I'm going to bring that over. I'm just going to press down. You can see you've got a beautiful image there. I'm going to do it twice, just to get that really strong contrast. Take that over again and just press down, giving you that beautiful, very strong contrast there, which is lovely. And now you can see that the line of where I chose is just all blended in and everything, which looks really lovely. So I'm going to take that off of there for the moment. I want to put a sentiment on before we get rid of that completely, but I do need to dry off the VersaFine Clair because it is a wet, quite a wet one, so I do just want to dry that off. Okay, so we have got, let's pop that back onto there a minute. So I'm going to pop a sentiment on there, and I'm also going to put some of the seagulls on there. So I'm just going to wipe this off because I don't want to get any of that on there. She says, looking around for where's my cloth gone. Disappeared completely. Don't you love it when that happens? I'm just going to pop my seagulls. Now I'm going to use Black Soot Distress Ink. I think that's probably going to go on the best way. So I'm just going to put them into position. We'll have a couple there. And I'm just going to sponge through the stencil so that we've got a couple of birds flying in. And then we'll have another couple over here. Just bringing them in there, which I think looks quite nice. And we dare get one over here. I don't know actually if this one will show because of the frame that we're going to go over, but we'll give one over there. That might not show actually, but that's okay. So that looks quite nice. That makes it into a little bit more there. And then my sentiment. Now I'm wanting my sentiment to go roughly there, but we need to get the frame sorted for that. And what I've done for the frame is I have already cut, I've already cut the largest of the postage frame stamps out in black. So that is the very largest one. Then I've taken, let me show you what I have taken so that you can see. Then I have so I've used that one. That's the very largest one. So this is going to go onto an A5 card. So I've taken the very largest one and cut it out in black. I've then taken the first or the largest one of the plain rectangles. And then I'm not using that next size of the postage frames, but I'm using then the second one of the actual plain frames, so that together that is giving me an even frame, whoops, all the way around. So it gives us quite a nice frame there, and that is what that will cut out. So those two frames together will cut out that, which I thought was quite a nice idea. So if you have got the postage stamp frames, they really give you a good choice of being able to do the postage stamp edge with a frame immediately there, or a wider one or a narrow one. There's really quite a lot of choice on there, and we did use it on another video some time ago. So my image is going there like that. Now this is the piece that is going to make our frame. So I just want to, as I put it over here, I just want to make sure that where I'm going to put my sentiment is going to be in the right place. I don't want it over the sun, because that's no point in doing the sun in that case, but I do want it so that we can see it. And I think as I put that over there like that, I could actually get away with moving it a little bit more over there. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got my card into position. Just going to put a bit more, holding that into position, and then I'm just going to pick that up. And again, I'm going to do that with the VersaFine Clair in black, just to put my sentiment. So this is a sentiment from the John Next Door range. It is an old one, I'm afraid not available anymore, but it's some of my favourite wording on there. Well, I suppose it probably is, because I had a lot to do with it, but there you go. So this one is, may all your dreams and wishes come true. And again, for something like this, it could be for a birthday, it could be for a retirement, it could be just, you know, you're thinking of someone, anything. I just think that's quite a nice way to go for that. So that's all our stamping done. So I can pop this, let's take that off before I forget and put it back. Whoops, we don't need that any longer. So I'm going to now cut out my piece of card, and to make sure that it's going to be the right thing, I'm going to use that largest die, the largest plain die again, to cut this out so that they are exactly one on top of another. Let's put the lid on that, otherwise we have black everywhere. We don't want that, do we? So I'm going to put that there, and that's going to look about right to me, because that's where the frame's going to go. So I'm going to take that into position and then just run that through my machine. Just check. And although there's still a bit of white around the edges, the frame that I've made is going to cover that, so it's not too vital that that's the case. So I'm just going to run that through my machine, so bear with me on the noise levels. Let's just take that off. Whoops. And by cutting it out with the same die, we know that they are then going to fit, which I think is, we could always trim down and cut round and all the rest of it. But if you have got a die that you're using as the frame, it really makes sense to do that. So now, when we put this together, we've got our base of our postage stamp, and that little beauty is going to go on there. So already with the black background and the black ink, that just has pulled it out immediately. And then when we put our frame, minus the fluff, over the top of that, that just tidies up those edges where we didn't quite get it all, and just looks really smashing. So I'm going to get my A5 card. It's a pre-scored one, so I'm just going to score that a little bit more. Let's just put my mucky bits away so that I know what happened. Just get in a pickle. Just put that all the way up there. Right. And I can see that I've already, hold on a minute, whoops, I must just clear over the decks a little bit here, because I've got bits of ink and I don't want that on there, so let me just clear that off. Don't want to pick up little bits of ink that I may have got astray on there. That's why I like using this cover, because it just picks it all up nicely. So my card base is going to go down onto my A5. So I'm just going to stick that straight down. And I'm just going to do a little bit of foam and whatever on my actual card frame, so that it just sits up very, very slightly. So I'm just going to put that down, and then as near as I can, centre that. It does go quite nicely onto an A5. You've more or less got a nice even border all the way around, which is quite handy. So because this is a little bit wet, and it will dry and it will be completely flat, but because it isn't completely flat at the moment, I'm just going to put some of my double-sided tape on there to actually stick it to my card base, because I don't want it to be wonky. So I'm just going to put some of that on. If I left it for half an hour, it would be fine and it would flatten out nicely. But because you haven't got half an hour to sit there and watch me wait for paintbrush to dry, literally, I'm just going to pop it on with this. I find that if I'm using wet glue on an already wet surface, it doesn't work quite so well. So I'm just going to do it like that. Bring this back over and then just hover that before I put it in. Get that straight so that we've got that nice little border all the way around. So that's now kept that completely flat, which is lovely. And then I'm just going to pop a little bit of foam onto here. Now I'm going to use 2mm, I think. Or the 3. No, I think we'll go for 2. And I think that this will be just a bit fractionally too big. So I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to just trim that down the centre, which is a bit of a fuss, but I'm using some of the non-sticky scissors, so it's not quite so much of a problem. I just want to lift that up a little bit, but I still want some foam on it, and I prefer to do it in one long line rather than the little bits that one can get, the little foam pads. I'm not keen on those because then you get saggy bits. So chopped it off, it'd be easier, wouldn't it? So that's those 2 sides done, and another little piece for the other sides, roughly there. Just finishing off our little frame. So any of the Nellie Snellen floral scenes, as they're called today, would work with this way of doing it. I think that they just, all of the stamp is all basically all you need. If you've got those stamps, you can actually just prepare a beautiful card with just a bit of colouring on the back. And if you weren't keen on doing the colouring, you could even just get a piece of patterned paper, or just straight on, really. It all works. But as you can see, with the way that I was putting on the colour, it's not rocket science. It's just a bit of scribble, really, isn't it? So I'm just going to hover that over the top, but because I cut out the piece of card behind it to be exactly the same, I know that I just need to level up that and it will be exactly the same. And then because it's got the foam all the way around nice and evenly, no gaps, I just need to pop that down. And hey presto, we are done. So as we said, any of the stamps that we're going to be showing today, let me just grab them over here to show you again. We have got the lovely trees or tree, which again would look fab, just one tree. You've got the tree with a swing. Sure, they could have thought of a better name of that, but anyway, tree with a swing, which again would look lovely. And then your I'm sure it's called summer vacation or something like that, but that really is a bit different. And again, quite nice as well though. And your lovely Lighthouse one. So they are all Nellie Snellens. They are all 130 millimeters by 85. They are all on the Facebook Live section of the MaximumCrafts.com website, as are the postage stamp frames and as are the lovely stencils. So if you like doing that sort of thing, you have got a selection there of clouds and suns and moons and stars and birds, and all adds to that sort of thing, making it look rather yummy, I think. So there you go. That is for our Wednesday's YouTube Live. I have got a lovely workshop with people, lots of people, on Saturday afternoon. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody then. So that's going to be great. And then I'll be back on Sunday morning with the Sunday special with some very special prices on some things. So worthwhile you're having a look. So have a great day for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.